Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the High Five Preschool and Kids Weekly Training Podcast. My name is Kayla, and I am joined with two of our fabulous team members here today, Crystal and Rachel, who just do amazing things with High Five for preschool and for kids. I just love their creativity and just all they have to offer. So hopefully you will enjoy this conversation as we jump in to September's content this month. You guys, it's fall already. I'm so excited. I love all things fall. I hope you do too. Hopefully the weather is getting a little cooler where you are like it is where I am. But this month, we are going to be jumping in with our simple truth, God knows me for preschool, and for kids, I am known. Now, if you've been with us in High Five for a little bit, you know that our scope and sequence follows a wheel, is what we kind of like to call it. So rather than a line, we go in a circle because we're High Five and we like to be different sometimes. But in High Five, we keep the same simple truths year over year, and all of the content within a month changes. So the Bible stories change, the theme verse, the media, the art, the printables, everything inside changes year over year. And we keep teaching the same simple truth in new, innovative, fun ways, because all throughout Scripture, we see how we can know who we are and what our identity is and who we are because of who God says that we are. And so all throughout Scripture, there's tons of Bible stories and verses and passages that help us unpack this in different ways. So this month, we're talking about how God knows me and I am known. Our theme verse this month is the Lord sees the heart for preschool. And then with kids, we've got human sees what is visible, but the Lord sees the heart. It's a little bit longer. So lots of fun stuff coming up this month. But before we jump into this week and all of the things we're talking about this week, we always want to start off with a fun question. So Crystal and Rachel, I know I've got a fun question for you. Listeners would love to hear your feedback and comments. Maybe just listen in and think through, how you would answer this question, or use this question this upcoming Sunday or Wednesday as you're talking with your leaders. Maybe just a fun icebreaker for them. All right. So all things aside, here is our question for the day. What is something that you know like a lot about? You would consider yourself an expert. You know all the details. You know the ins and outs. You are the expert in this area. What would you say?
Okay, I'll go first. I kind of feel like I am an expert in musicals. I love Broadway musicals. I have ever since I was in middle school, and I've loved listening to the music, but I don't just love listening to the music. I love learning about the people who are in the shows. I love learning about why they were written. And so I am just kind of a nerd when it comes to musicals. If I lived closer to Seattle, and if it didn't cost an arm and a leg, I would have season passes. We've got a theater up here that's got incredible musicals all year round. And I would go weekend after weekend after weekend just to enjoy musicals.
That's amazing. That absolutely checks out. If anyone talks to Crystal and you say something that reminds her of any kind of music lyric, she will immediately burst into song. She knows the lyric. She knows who sang it. She knows their life story. She knows the details about music.
I do.
Musicals. That's awesome.
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd for the tunes. So
hey, we're here for it. We're here for it. We love it. Rachel, what about you? What are you an expert in these days?
I was trying to think while Crystal was talking, and the answer that just kept popping up right now is little boy hobbies, I think. I was thinking, I know way more than I should about Legos and BattleBots and just lots of things like that, like books that they're into. So probably all those things that no one's going to care about unless you're a third, fourth, or fifth grade boy.
That's amazing.
Can I bring up one that I thought Rachel was going to say is
Sure.
bike races. Like, I have never met anybody who knows about bike races like you know. Rachel, you watch them, you guys participate in them. Like you are in, if I had any question about any bike race ever, I feel like I could ask you and you'd be like, well, actually, da 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 da. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're probably right. Because this summer we watched the Tour de France and then the Tour de France Femmes, and I talked about it all the time. And I guess I wouldn't say that because I would think my kids and my husband are like expert level, and I'm like, I know about it, I love it, I can talk about it. So maybe because everyone around me is a crazy fan, I didn't go straight there with my answer.
Interesting.
That is great. I love it. Yeah, I would agree, Crystal. That would definitely be one I would say. I think Rachel's an expert on this, but I am 100% not an expert on that at all. So if you know any inkling about anything that is professional biking, you're automatically an expert in my book. So, all right. Well, I would say mine is probably similar to you, Rachel, not in that it interests 4th and 5th grade boys, but that it's something that's kind of like, why would you know this unless you were in this group? And so my thing that I am an expert on currently is how to dye wood flowers, because that is something that I am doing in my life right now, is dyeing flowers and making different floral arrangements at the moment. And so I'm an expert. So if you have any questions about how to dye some flowers with some wood, you want to know what paint to get, you want to know what softener to add or how much water, I am your girl. You just come let me know.
I was just going to say we might see a little shop pop up somewhere of Kayla's dyed wooden flowers. Like, you've learned all of this for your wedding, but now everyone can enjoy your expertise.
You know, yeah, you never know. You never know what kind of fun things come out of the hobbies that we have. So, well, thank you for indulging us, listeners. It's so fun to think about, what are you an expert at? What is the thing that maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's some random thing that you didn't know you were an expert at, but now you're an expert because you have to be. And so there's always things that we have going on in our lives that we just know all the details about. And it's fun to think about that because in comparison, God is the expert of you. He is the expert of who you are. He's the expert of the kids in your ministry. And just like you, I know we're not all technically experts. Maybe some of you are in certain fields. But there are things about you that God is the expert on. Like, he knows you better than you know yourself. And this month we really get to teach kids and preschoolers how incredible it is that God knows them, that they are known by God inside, outside, every detail about them. God knows them. And this week's Bible story is God chose David to be king for preschoolers, and for kids, the title is Samuel Anointed David. This comes out of 1 Samuel chapter 16. And we're really going to help kids and preschoolers understand this idea about God really does know every detail about us and why that matters. So, Rachel, I would love if you could just kind of help us unpack this simple truth for a moment, and just about how God knows us and how we are known by God, and what difference can it really make for a preschooler or a kid as they start to know and learn and understand that they're really known by God.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone about this yesterday about how good it feels to be known. So whenever you are in a group of people where you are known, where they know you, it feels so comforting and you have such belonging. And I think it's even more special to be known by God. And it makes all the difference because God isn't impersonal. He doesn't just know your name or know that you need Jesus. And all those things are true. He does know your name. He knows we all need Jesus. However, he knows every detail about us, those little things that make us who we are. And the reason he knows them is because he designed us. And I think that is so important and so special. And it really makes all the difference because our relationship with God isn't a one-way thing where we just know facts about him, but it's it's a two-way relationship where we are known by him and we can know him. And I think it is so important for kids and preschoolers to know that, because it's not just about learning facts and being able to say, things about God, but it's about truly knowing him, embracing that part of our identity that shows that we are known by the God who created the universe. It is just mind boggling, but comforting. And it makes me feel just so special knowing that. And I know kids and preschoolers feel that way as well, because in a world where we strive to be known, it is so comforting to remember we are known. We're known by the God who made us and loves us.
Amen. Yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you, Rachel. And, as you were talking, it just reminded me that, as we think about these simple truths about how we're known by God, how we're made for community, we're forgiven, we're loved, we're set apart, these are all foundational identity truths that kids and preschoolers are learning now. And also, we may not see some of the fruits of that labor until they're 14 or 15 or 17 or 25. But how amazing it is that in these foundational years, we really get to help kids and preschoolers know who they are, so that when that identity is challenged, which, if we're honest, it's already being challenged in our kids and our preschoolers at this age, but it will be even more increasingly challenged as they get older. And how incredible it is that they can remember and know what is true about them, that they are known by the God of the universe. Every detail about them is known by God. And that's a good thing, because he cares about us, because he loves us, because he's intentional towards us. And so I just love that year over year, we get to come back to these simple truths and really help preschoolers and kids connect and understand how this particular truth about who God is shapes and really molds their understanding of who they are and who he made them to be. So thanks for sharing that. All right, Crystal, we're going to switch gears. So this month, our theme verse actually comes from this Bible story. So it doesn't always work out that the theme verse comes from the Bible story or one of the Bible stories of the month, but it just so happens this one does. So Can you kind of talk us through, I know I mentioned earlier what our theme verse is. Will you kind of talk us through with that theme, or talk us through that theme verse, why we chose it, and how it really connects specifically to this week's Bible story in a way that we can prepare our own hearts and minds as we prepare to teach this Bible story?
Absolutely. So the theme verse again, humans see what is visible, but the Lord sees the heart for kids, and the Lord sees the heart for preschoolers. We felt like this was a really strong verse to talk about being known. It goes beyond just being known for your name or anything like that, but we really felt like that verse by itself does show that God knows every detail. God knows everyone. God knows every hurt. God knows like every situation and what happens to us. Just so you know, listeners, I just gave you a preview of everything else that's coming this month. But we also really, the Bible story that it came from, we felt like was just perfect for teaching that God knows every detail. So in this story, God has told Samuel, like, I'm choosing a new king, and I want you to go and anoint him. You're going to go to this family. And so Samuel shows up, and he sees these strapping men who look kingly, right? Like there's something about them on the outside, whether it's their height, whether it's their muscle, whether it's their countenance, there's something about them that seems very regal and royal to Samuel. And so he's like, this has got to be the guy. God's like, that's not him. And he's like, let me see the other sons, strapping, amazing. And God's like, these are not them. And then God has this moment with Samuel where he says, people see what's on the outside. Like in your mind, you've got an idea of what this king should look at, but I look at the heart. And I'm inviting you to look at the heart as well. And so then Samuel finds out about David, who was so young, he wasn't even brought to in front of everybody. It's like, oh yeah, there's still one more set. He's watching the sheep. And God is like, this is the one. And I really think what kids can learn from this is that God knows every detail about you. He knows who you are. He knows your likes, your dislikes, your talents, your struggles. He even knows things that are going to be in the future. I mean, the Bible doesn't say this, but I think it's pretty clear that when it says that God like knew his heart, God looked at his heart, he didn't just see who David was in that moment. He saw the potential that David had for the future to be a man after his own heart. And you know what, preschoolers and kids? God looks at us and he sees the same amazing potential as well. Every single one of us can love and follow God with everything. And he's not just asking us because he wants a whole bunch of people. It's because, Kayla, he knows every detail about you. He made you and he loves you. And when you feel invisible, you can know that God knows you and every detail about you. And Rachel, God knows every detail about you. He doesn't ever get Kayla and Rachel confused. He doesn't ever, nothing like that, because he knows every detail about you, what makes you special, unique, wonderful, and amazing. And I think it's important for us to know that preschoolers and kids are living in a time where the world is telling them, make yourselves known, make yourselves or make yourselves seen. You need to have a legacy, essentially. And it's like we get to tell them, hey, guess what? You already are seen and known. There's somebody who knows every detail about you. Like God knew every detail about David, God knows every detail about you. And I just think it's going to be so encouraging for these preschoolers and kids to learn this week.
That's incredible. Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for unpacking that and just helping us see how this really connects and is so integral to what we're teaching this week about how God knows every detail about every child in your ministry. Mm-hmm. And as kind of a flip to that, I kind of want to lead us back to where we started, which is when we were talking about, what are you an expert in? And I want to just reiterate, leaders, like God is an expert in you. This isn't just true of your preschoolers or your kids that you teach week in and week out. This isn't just true of the families that you serve. This is true about you too. And so we don't always have homework on our podcast, and no one's going to actually check in on you, but I want to challenge you this week to take some time, maybe stand in front of your bathroom mirror and just repeat to yourself, I am known by God. God knows every detail about me. In kids with our main idea videos, we often have kids repeat what's going on and what we're learning for the day. But let that sink in. Take some time this week and just be reminded and encouraged that God knows every detail about you. He knows the celebrations that are happening in your life right now. He knows the pain that you are experiencing in your life right now. And he knows everything in between. And he's with you. And he loves you. And those are good truths to remember. That as we teach kids and preschoolers this week about how God knows every detail about us, spend some time leaning into 1 Samuel chapter 16 this week, reading the story, imagining what David could have felt like, or Samuel, who's grieving that Saul will not be the king that he thought he would be. And just be encouraged and be reminded that in everything that's happening in your life right now, you're seen by God. He knows every detail about you, and he loves and cares for you right where you are. Leaders, we are so grateful for you. Thank you for leading week in and week out and teaching kids and preschoolers who they are because of who God says they are. We truly hope that these podcasts are encouraging to you and also insightful as God is preparing your heart to lead and teach this week. Until next time, we are praying for you, and we can't wait to hear more about how God is helping you and your ministry find real connection and true belonging.